everyone, this is Nnena.
And I'm Ngozi,
and welcome back to our channel. Okay, so this is like a couple days into February, okay? And February, we know it specifically for two things. I would say
the month of love
and Black History Month,
yes.
right? So we've been talking about a lot of issues pertaining to the year of the return, you know, why I was named the year of the return, our experience in Ghana, talking about race,
Black
colorism,
culture.
Black culture. And I really want us to have a video today really talking about, you know, the Black history they never taught us. Okay? So I grew up, well, me and Ngozi both grew up in New Jersey, like we've said many, many times. We went to a mixed high school, right? So I would say we were in suburbia. And then we went to Temple, right? So in Temple, I majored in biology and my minor was African-American studies. Shout out to Temple, okay? The first program in the U.S. that had a PhD program in African-American studies, 1971.
1972, yes.
72, yes. So shout out to Temple University. And I just feel as if Temple made me what I am right now. And I feel like Temple taught me Black history, right? So I'm just wondering, why do I have to wait until university and pay money and go get a minor in African-American studies to learn about things that happen in America? It just doesn't make sense to me. It's just beyond me that like America tries so hard to cover what they did to Black people. All they want to talk about is Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman,
the passive,
the 3 or 4
Black
passive Black people who did so much, but at the same time, I just feel like, when you go into African American studies, and it's only by the grace of God you won't go around hating white people, literally, because the stuff you really just start to learn and the way it's broken down, you become angry, you become upset. Like I just feel like we're robbed, and I'm just wondering, like that's why you have. I just feel like that's part of the reason why there's so much like confusion nowadays, and you have all these white nationalists, you have all these people that don't understand, oh well, Black people this, or oh I think when are we gonna stop Black, you guys don't really even understand the history, right? So if you don't understand what really happened, you're gonna think Black people are being dramatic. You're gonna think that they're crying for help. You're gonna think that
they're
people,
complaining.
Thank you. You're gonna think them asking for reparations is, oh my God, aren't these Black people tired?
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? Because you don't really even understand what the Black people here went through.
Yeah. So
because America is nobody wants to paint themselves bad. America will sit down and teach you about the Holocaust. I'm telling you, no lie. Mrs. What's her name? Who was the history teacher who had braces in West Orange High School?
No idea.
She opened her dirty mouth to say that the Holocaust was worse than slavery.
You can't even say that.
Why in the world would you even compare two horrific events? And you know why you think it's worse than slavery? Because America's painting it to be worse than slavery. Because it didn't, and because it didn't happen in America.
And it happened to white
people.
So
America's quick to point out what happened in other countries and make them look bad. But they don't want to point out what they did to that someone can even argue is even 10 times worse than these other countries have done to other people.
They paid them back. They gave reparations to Jewish people, but that's a topic of discussion.
Yeah, that's another video.
We can't compare two bad things.
Exactly. Let's just stop doing that. They're both bad things. But for her to even say that as a history teacher, you get what I'm saying? Like
the Holocaust is not American history.
But I'm telling you, I personally feel as if I learned more about the Holocaust in high school than slavery. I remember reading Anne Frank. I remember learning about the war. I remember
that book, The Piano, or reading that movie, The Pianist, when they showed about the Holocaust.
Personally, I don't know. Let people let me know, because it might be that I grew up in suburbia. I grew up in an area with a lot of white people.
The people who are making the rules, the people who are making these curriculums, they're going to show what they want to show, because
maybe if I lived in a Black neighborhood, maybe I would learn. Maybe if I lived in a Black neighborhood, I would learn more of this, and I have to wait till Temple. But the things I just started to learn, and things that I just discovered about what Black people have gone through in this country, was even like, I feel like in high school they never really even explained the transatlantic slave trade. Like they really never, I don't know, or I don't remember. I don't really remember them really.
We just started from Harriet Tubman, like whatever
happened.
Thank you. There was no like backdrop. There was no how did they really get here. 1619 was when we celebrating 400 years of the first slave ship coming to America.
I feel like they just showed.
We didn't learn about.
They just started the history. Okay, the slaves are in America.
They're already here, but how did they get here? Why are they here? What happened?
Where did you take them? Where did you separate them from? What did you do to them? What did the slave masters do to them? How did they lose their languages? How did they get these white names? You get what I'm saying? How did they work? How did they even get? How was the journey here? You get to all these slave movies like what's the popular one? Amistad and the Nat Turner one. We didn't watch those in high school.
We watched one in high school. I can't remember. It's the one with Denzel Washington getting beat in his back. Then he got like the scars on his back.
I don't
beating him and beating him.
And you know why we probably watched that was probably Race, Class, and Gender.
No, yeah, I think
with Mr. Evans
beating him on his back until his back
Race, Class, and Gender. You weren't taught that in real history. That's the point I'm trying to make to you. If you were taught that, it's because you have to go out your way and register for a class called Race, Class, and Gender. You shouldn't have to do that. That should be a part of the curriculum. Exactly. This should be a component of American history.
But that's also too. People try to separate it. Black history is American history because Black people are American. Black Americans are Americans, so why it shouldn't even be a separation. The same way you're learning about this war, the Civil War, this war, that war. It should be Black history.
And it's also world
Black history shouldn't be divided like its own little section. It should be integrated as a part of the entire American history curriculum.
Because it's also world history. Because the Black people were brought from another country, so it's technically it should be world.
But I'm saying the way we even learned about is like a little block separated. No, if we were learning about everything that happened in the 1900s, also include everything that happened to Black people in the 1900s. It's not just all white history and then Black people are in their own little corner, because everything Black people have been in America since 1600s, 1619 to be exact. So if we're learning about things that happened in 16, 17, 1800s,
they don't talk about
what happened to the Black people during that time. They were still alive, they were living, they were here. So why are they just ignored and pushed to the side? And then we learned American history as if Black people are not American. What are they? What are they? Only person more American than a Black American is a Native American. That's the only person. Even them, their history is barely even taught. So surface, fake Thanksgiving, kumbaya. That's topic of discussion for today. But right now, I'm on the Law Library of Congress's website, because before even making this video, I want to know more about Black history. When did it really start? Why is it important? I know why it's important, but who was actually responsible for starting it? So it talks about 1975, President Ford had issued a message on the observance of Black History Week, telling Americans to the importance of acknowledging the contributions that Black people are making in America. Then it's officially in 1986, Congress passed the Public Law 99-244, which designated February 1986 as National Black (Afro-American) History Month. And this law noted that February 1st, 1986 would mark the beginning of the 60th annual public and private salute to Black history. So the first time it was talked about was in 1926. So yeah, this is when it became official, like a law on paper. Ronald Reagan was president at that time in 1986.
What is Reagan known for? The crack epidemic?
I think that's what he's known for. Did he do amnesty? No, that's Bush. Reagan did amnesty.
Reagan's known.
I believe he gave amnesty.
I'm not into.
I believe he did amnesty. So since then, every February, it's here. It's a law, Public Law 99-244. It's in the law. It's actually because I want to know, is this something we just made? How did it really come to part? It's a law.
They chose to share this month.
Oh my God, it's a law. So February is known as Black History Month in America. So I just wanted to get the little history. Here's all the proclamations, executive branch. If anyone has if you're interested, you want to know more about it, go to the Law Library of Congress, and they have a whole bunch of documents. You can upload the PDFs about all the laws and what exactly happened to make Black History Month become an official honored month. And it makes me think of what's that song, Solange's album Cranes in the Sky, and her mother has a little part when she's talking about people say, why do y'all have Black History Month? We don't have a White History Month. And her mother says, well, every day is White History Month. Okay. And it's it's really important. That really always resonated with me. I love that album, by the way, of Solange. And it's just the reason why we have to make a Black History Month, a history,
Essence magazine,
a Hispanic cultural month of this, because we are a minority. And if things were equal, we had equal playing grounds, you wouldn't need recognition.
It's so funny because we're gonna have a lot of videos this month just talking about race, because I feel like it's something people don't talk about enough, and I feel like we need to learn how to. When we're uncomfortable is when we learn, right? So if we're always trying to tiptoe around things and be super comfortable and not go out of our comfort zone, how are you gonna learn? Something. I think that's the issue we have nowadays. Is that people are scared about race. Exactly. You say one thing, people get offended, or people are scared of the reaction. I respect you being real with me, being like, listen, I think that this is this, and then that's how you learn. We're not doing cancel culture. We're doing teaching culture. Okay. A lot of things that people are doing based off of ignorance. So I remember, like I said in the last video, one of our last videos, I talked about Americana, right? And this is reading this book again this January is something that's made me say I need to talk about race more because oh my god, like I can't even imagine. Like the book is just amazing. It talks about so many things. And Ifemelu, the main character in the book, was dating this white guy called Kurt. And Kurt said she had a bunch of Essence magazines on her table, and Kurt was like, "You don't think this is a bit weird? Like, you know, like kind of like segregated. I don't know what the word he used. Like, how come you're reading magazines with only black people?" So Ifemelu was like, "Okay, we're gonna do something." He said, "Okay." They got up. She said, "Get ready, let's go to the bookstore." She took a bunch of magazines, like regular magazines, threw it out the table. Told him, "Open these magazines and see how many black people you see in them." So we kept going through the magazines, and pointed to like 2 black people, and they both looked like they were mixed. And she said, "That's why I read Essence."
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So like some people
wouldn't need Essence if there was inclusion.
Exactly. We wouldn't need BT. We wouldn't need all these. You know. So
how many years ago they said Oscars so white? We wouldn't need our own award shows and stuff like that if they would include us in theirs, but they don't. So we wouldn't need HBCUs if they let us go to the PWIs.
Exactly.
HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, were created because black people are not allowed to attend schools that white people attended.
We wouldn't need a a Black Nurses Organization. We wouldn't need that if the white nurses organizations were more inclusive.
We wouldn't need the NAACP if these other organizations were actually fighting for black people's rights.
Exactly.
We wouldn't need them, but because they don't exist, if people that want to get mad about Black History Month, they should do everything in their power to erase racism and erase inequality and erase all these barriers so that we don't need these things anymore. Mm-hmm. But as long as these things exist, then these organizations need to exist because they're fighting for the equality of all peoples, especially the equality for colored people.
So I just thought it's just an interesting perspective. Everyone has a right to their own perspective, and I just feel like we all need to, like I said, we need to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and that's the only way we're gonna learn. We're not doing cancel culture or cancel because that's what another thing I don't like nowadays. People are scared to talk. I want to hear your ignorant statement, and I want to get to the root of why you're thinking so ignorantly. You get what I'm saying? But if you're scared to say something, all you do is close your lips. You're still thinking like that. It doesn't change what's really in your heart. It doesn't change what you're really thinking. But you're too scared to express it because you don't want to be canceled. You don't want me to call you a racist. Not every white person is a racist. It's ignorance.
Some of them are, but most of it is ignorance.
It's ignorance. A lot of them have never had black friends.
You come from a place of privilege. Everyone around you looks like you. Your exposure to non-white people is through the TV. So you see rappers with pants sagging and tattoos. You see NBA players. But how about the real everyday black person? You don't have that exposure.
Exactly.
So you use those stereotypes that you see.
That's why when you see me walking by, you got to move over in the corner. Yeah. You know, because all you see is the negative. Us, you understand? Whiteness is pushed on us. We're forced to know that white people wash their hair every day.
If you're a black person,
we're forced to know things about
all black people. You know almost everything about white culture because it's mainstream culture and it's what you see every day. Mm-hmm. So you have to learn about white people, but white people don't have to learn about anybody else but themselves.
It's true.
They don't have to. They can make a conscious effort to be woke or to be politically correct. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them do that. And I respect that. You're in a world with different people. You should know about other people besides you. But they don't really have to. But us as black people, we have to learn about other cultures because they're the majority and we need to know what's going on. So, of course, it's so much going on. There's so much to unpack. We're going to have separate videos about this. Mm-hmm. But we just want to let you guys know the importance of Black History Month, when it was founded, all the stuff behind it. And Black history is American history, so Black history is so important. And we want to make sure that that's the message that's always being pushed, that Black history, we need more of it. We need to talk to our councilmen, write to people in power to change these curriculums in schools so that our children, our grandchildren, our brothers and sisters can learn about their history and not have to wait until they go to college and request for it. It should be something that they learn from a young age. So let us know how you feel about this. Happy Black History Month, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye-bye.